All right, folks. So here we are. It's that time of evening where all the major feeding's been done. Everything's on their grain ration, eating right now. Everything. This is kind of the time of evening where I like to take about 20-25 minutes or so and do an odd job of some sort before I give everything their hay. If you can help it, if I can help it, I like for everything to kind of finish up their grain before throwing in the hay. There's always something to do, but instead of doing some sort of little odd job, I choose to make a little video here, and we're going to cover a few areas. We're going to go on a cattle tour. We're going to take a look at my grain ration, the new grain ration, and we're going to take a look at the roughed up peas and oats, because I just fed a bale no more than 30 minutes ago. All right, I threw this down today. We've got a complete all pens emptied barn cleaning happening tomorrow morning. It's going to be an overflowing manure spreader. One thing at a time here, Ben. This is soybean straw. This is the stuff that comes off of the round bales that I made, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Now next year I have to go after other people's property for straw, bedding in general. I can promise you right now, I do know for a fact that there are multiple fields of soybeans being put in right around me. And I will be going after a very fair handful of the round bales for inside the barn bedding in the winter. I'm really liking this stuff as a second option. Your first option obviously is a beautiful bale of either barley or oat straw. And of course here we have a square bale of soybean straw, and they're nice, they work. They are a little difficult, boo-hoo-hoo. They work for an option, for a second option. We'll take a look at these pigs eating on their grain. Of course, this is the pen of bulls. It doesn't take them but 2 seconds to snarf down their grain. Yeah, they're doing good. Holstein steers continue to do just fine. I don't know if you can see it, but those idiots, yeah, they throw a lot of their hay out. I put that back in though. It's a little bit wet. I don't care. That gets put back in their trough here with a fresh bale of hay. And they actually, they mow this down. So, right, you bunch of pigs. Yeah, complete barn cleaning tomorrow morning. It's just the way it happens. Don't normally like doing that on a Sunday morning, just because. But, you know, not everything can be perfect. Okay. This is my new grain ration. I say new because it's not like the last bin full, which was completely fine ground, which was a big no-no, which was my fault. And I also say new because you know, I fed a heck of a lot of grain here this spring, summer, and fall with those Holsteins. And this grain ration here, compared to what the Holsteins had to be on, which was demanded is the wrong word, you know, from the owner, that was one hell of a pricey grain ration. It's a grower ration for Holstein heifers that his nutritionist put together. It was pricey. Anyway, okay. What this is my grain rations are a 6,000 pound delivery. I got one of those 3/6 ring Sioux bins. I actually have a second one that's brand new. I haven't put it together yet though. And I'm glad I didn't. I got it a couple years ago. And thank God I didn't put it together and put it where I was wanting to, because it would have been a huge mistake. 6,000 pounds. 3,000 pounds of this is rolled, cracked, whatever you want to call it, corn. Then there's 1,400 pounds of fine ground barley, 1,400 pounds of fine ground oats, 200 pounds of dry molasses for taste. I was going to switch that up and put soybean in there. Soybean for taste. Trust me, anything being in here for taste is a joke anyway. It's laughable. They don't need anything like that, but it's a little extra. It's cheap enough. The next ration, I might go ahead and get a little bit crafty, and instead of the 200 pounds of dried molasses, I do believe I'm going to go ahead and go after, I'll probably up the ante. I'll probably up it to about 300 to 400 pounds and take away from barley and oats for taste. So, not to mention we're talking soybeans here too, so that it provides more than taste. So that's my grain ration. I know anybody that's dairy right now is laughing. You need to understand this is beef operation here. This is what you would probably consider. I don't have my words here. This isn't rehearsed, so I mean no disrespect. Obviously, that's my grain ration. That would be considered a poor man's grain ration, a cheap man's grain ration. You know, there's all different types of scenarios to get a big grower ration in there. You know, including you know, at our feed mill, it's called the what the hell is it called? It's Checkers, which of course comes from Purina, and there's a name and number to it. I forget what it was. I used to use it all the time when I was raising those Holstein bull calves. But that doesn't exist. It's just basically pure grain. Yeah, boy, I'm losing my train of thought. What's going on here? Saturday night, maybe I need a beer for crying out loud. Boy, that sounds good right now. Let's get out of this barn. So back to the grain ration. I'm not into doing things that other people don't and all that other crap. So when I say this, that grain ration is a far sight better than what a lot of people use for these calves and whatnot. Lots of people don't use grain at all. And you really don't have to, depending on what other feed that you have. Like for this group of idiots here, yeah, they're finishing theirs. I never cleaned out that bunk yet. It's gonna get cleaned tomorrow. You know, these idiots here are on one hell of a diet. And I dare say that word diet for crying out loud. They got alfalfa baleage, always dry hay. Let's walk in there. And they get grain. Now when I'm gone, they only get grain at night. When I'm home, I'll usually grain them twice a day. Once in the morning, once at night. Okay, they got 2 new bales here this evening. This is a beautiful bale of hay right here, and it's because it was wrapped. I think I touched on that last night's video. It was one of the end cap bales to the high moisture lines that are across the highway. And yeah, it kept extremely well. Here's the problem though. They're not going to touch this for at least a day, day and a half. They might nitpick at it a little bit, but they got some fresh alfalfa here. And the old bale wasn't put in there very correctly, but what are you going to do? Yeah, this group of pigs, they've definitely gotten used to this. This will be gone in about 2.5 days, probably 2. But it won't matter. I'm for the most part sticking to my guns here this year. They won't see another bale of alfalfa till probably Wednesday night. Of course, tonight's Saturday night. So that they get their dry hay intake, and to alleviate waste, especially waste of dry hay. I keep giving them alfalfa. They're hardly going to touch the dry hay. You get some inclement weather and everything else, it gets sloppy, and that's my 2 cents. So enjoy it while you got it, idiots. Hey, you. Continue to have very nice weather. Extremely mild. A lot of snow has fallen from roofs. That glided down significantly. I do have a little concern with the north end of what we call the addition. I'll show you that back here in the barn. Of course, we got an old faithful steeple here for the main barn. Dad had that redone. I don't know, I'm gonna guess 12, 15 years ago. He had that redone, resurfaced with steel. And yeah, pretty damn slick, boy. The cow and heifer herd here, beef herd, they ended up getting 2 new bales of hay here this evening. They were due though. And I gave them a bale of peas and oats for a treat. Dad gave me a hand. If you caught last evening's video, did a swap-roo of elevators here, as you can see. I even did a little snow plowing here last night. We ended up getting this amount of snow last night. I ended up having to clean the driveway again. Switched elevators. So that the cleaning process can begin here this coming week of the 18-footer. And we're going to go from there. Now, what's my scenario? With calving season coming and feeding a bunch of corn silage and making them all fat, here I am, I'm putting them on a diet. I don't know what my scenario is. I'll figure something out. But to alleviate, for the time being, to alleviate a lot of feed, a lot of bales, obviously, they're going to be getting some corn silage. There's those bowls. There's one sitting down. And at a certain point, I'll probably stop. They're going to get a minimal amount. At some point, I will stop. And they will be on basically, I dare say, a strict dry hay diet for a while. Hey! Come on. Alright folks, this is peas and oats. It smells exactly like fresh peas out of the garden. I kid you not. I am not joking around. Very happy with it. Cows love it, as you can see. A bunch of mongrels. Bless you. The rest of them are up there on dry hay. They just, a lot of your older ones are up there. Some of the younger ones that just don't care to have this competition. They're just standing back there eating dry hay and laughing at these idiots. But All right, I'll get out of your way so you can eat. Hey, Red. Here's my new cycle, 1018. 1018 is going to get a preg check, which any good cattleman watching right now know that she's, I'm going to guesstimate that she's not, but that's a guesstimation. That's an expensive guess. You don't do that. She is going to be preg checked in very soon time to come. Look at her. Look at her just putting her head up. It was damn near like 1020, which is gone. Bye-bye. Long story short, the old famous saying, she's got the devil in her blood. If she is not bred, pregnant, she's got to be taken care of. She needs to get off this farm. That's just the way it has to go. Now if she is, she's going to have that calf here. Let's hope it's a heifer calf and I don't have to tend to it. I won't even tag the darn thing. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. One more look here at the peas and oats. Hey. Hey. Move it. Now I know exactly where this bale came from. I did 2 sittings of peas and oats this year. One of them was that new property I picked up, all that new property. I did a peas and oats mothering crop for new seeding, hay, alfalfa, grassy hay. And that stuff turned out okay. Here's the deal. I went after it a next day baling. Or was it same day? No, next day baling. The stuff you seen there is pretty dry, and don't get me wrong, it was high enough moisture, you know, of course, to make silage, fermentation within being wrapped. But it was really on the dry end. As you can tell, it really doesn't matter. Now the first go around, okay, my words are all, maybe I do need a beer. Holy crap almighty. This stuff here is very dry. This was the bales that came off of the middle section of the hybrid sorghum field that we did. I let that stuff sit just as long as I let the sorghum sit. So it was way extra long. It was like a 3.5 day sit, 4 day sit, which was way too much. It was dry, but as you can see, it's okay. The stuff that I put in as mother crop to the new seeding grassland alfalfa, that stuff I did the next day after, and that turned out just beautiful. Cows just absolutely love that stuff, and of course it's gone. But yeah, peas and oats is a winner in my book, folks. And the beauty of the whole thing here is that we had a crap of a summer. Crap of a spring and summer. Actually, spring wasn't too bad. Summer was awful. Healthy 4-week drought. The word healthy. Followed by non-stop rain. And I cannot imagine what you can harvest for tonnage off of peas and oats on a stellar weather of a spring, summer, fall. Not to mention the stuff that I put in, I got it in late. So I'm pretty impressed. With all the negatives, I am impressed, very much so. Quite obviously, I'm not done weaning. Of course, I could probably scare him in there, and I've got her all locked up. That's a heifer right there, but it's too late in the day to be messing around with all that crap. So let's talk about peas and oats. We're going to do a special little video on my crop rotations, what I'm putting in this year, what to expect, everything else. I can tell you this much right now. I do have 4 pieces of property. 4 pieces of property I'm looking to mother crop with peas and oats. All 4 pieces of this property is going into pure new seeding alfalfa. It's part of getting a little bit back to basics here. More hay ground, but I'm going to start the hay ground out with pure alfalfa. That's my science. I'll explain it a little bit more on a different video. Now, 2 of the fields are guaranteed to go in, which is going to be comprised of about 27 acres. Those are guaranteed. The other 2 fields is a mystery. I'm working on something right now that if I was a betting man, I'd bet everything that I had on that I'm going to get it. We're talking about new property. In fact, I'll just tell you right now, a visit was paid yesterday, another little conversation, everything else. It's better than 80 acres. I don't really hardly have the time or anything to take that on this year, but we're going to call it an investment for the very near future. It's more ground, and it's not too far from here. It's kind of a win-win-win. But it's going to be a major investment, even financially, this coming year if I do get it. It just never stops. One thing about all this snow is it's stopping me from finding my great-great-grandfather's chest of gold that he buried around here. I keep digging for it, but I haven't found it yet. Good Lord Almighty. My explanations aren't the best here, folks. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I put a paper and a pencil to all this stuff, and a lot of it is for near future. More ground. Just take a look at that. I had to write a check out for that hay right there, that 4x6, these 4x6 bales. We've been talking about these last few videos. And farming the mitten, you are absolutely correct. About having extra feed and everything else, and yeah, I don't really know what quite to say here, but the goal here is a lot more property than what's needed, respectfully, and also, of course, for hay sales. You know, that has to be a good part of this farm's income. I don't exactly have the facilities and immediate property right around the farm here to put on, you know, 200 beef cows. I don't have that. This year I'm breeding 100. And that's going to be a tall order. We're going to see how it goes. We'll just see. So the ultimate goal here is part of this farm's income needs to come from hay sales, whether it be, you know, good horse hay, just round bales in the winter, square bales. Square bales is a complete novelty around here now. I'm willing to put in the extra time and effort and everything else and spend a little bit of money that it takes, you know, to make it, as far as getting a crew together. You guys seen it this summer, you know, setting up the elevators, stacking them all, having off the wagon sales and everything else. It's whatever you have to do to get the bills paid. Then, of course, we're also talking about alfalfa baleage. Now, this year I wasn't very lucky. I didn't sell anything, which was a major hurt. Contrary to possible popular belief, I do not have this magical chest of money laying around. I do not. Trust me, that was a major hurt. You know, when I did up my financial forecast there in the beginning of the year for 2019, I will not share with you the number, but there was a magical and practical number on my financial forecast with feed sales, square bales, alfalfa baleage, round bales. The list goes on and on. Well, you can take those numbers and throw them in the trash. Try making that up. Yeah, it's almost certain I'm going to have to go back to male dancing here just to keep things afloat. Wow, that was definitely a Saturday evening joke. All right, I should have asked this earlier. I fear that a lot of you have logged off here. I got a question. An actual question here. I want to know. Now everybody sees the good quality hay right there. And of course I told you why. It's because it was wrapped. It was served as an end cap bale to a baleage line. Is there anybody out there that purposefully wraps dry hay for that damn good stay in there quality for hay sales? In particular, what I'm thinking here is round bales of pure alfalfa to the horse customers. I gotta tell you, I developed a good handful of really good relationships this summer, which I'm very grateful and thankful for. And a few of them, out of many, were some pretty big horse boarders. And I actually ended up selling probably 20, 25, 30 round bales of pure alfalfa that I dry baled. Now understand here that I did that while I was having a record-breaking first crop. And then the water shut off after I sold those bales. I wish I could have them back. I want to know if there's any merit in doing that. If anybody does that, wraps bales, keep them fresh, dry, clean, with in minds to selling later on in the year, like late fall or dead of winter, how we are right now, to your horse customers. Any information would be grateful. I will not wrap my dry hay for my cattle. I will not do that. Wrapping bales can get pricey. I don't like to talk numbers a lot, but this is pretty much common knowledge. If you look hard enough, a box of that wrap, the plastic wrap, is I think it's $89 this past summer, and I do not care to share with you how many boxes I went through. If that kind of money doesn't mean anything to you, then you've done a hell of a lot better than I have, and my hat's off to you. So I'm going to stop mumbling. Any information is appreciated. I don't know. I'm willing to try something as long as I don't got to stick my neck out there too far. But, and of course, you've seen the roughed up, beat up peas and oats. Yeah, you can see the oats in there. It's good feed. Great feed. Folks, I got to get going. I got to push hay in. Pick a couple little extra more things to do here while I still got some daylight, which is pretty minimal. And I don't know, maybe go bark at the moon a little bit later. We'll see what happens. We're going to talk to you sooner or later.